How's your finger looking good?
Friends don't lie. Yeah, well, boyfriends lie. All the time.
What are you doing?
Peeing?
How many times, Dad? I don't do drugs.
You can't spill a America without Erica.
Am I dreaming or is that you, Harrington?
Yeah, it's me. Don't cream your pants.
Mornings are for coffee and contemplation.
Welcome to Just a Piece of Stranger Things. Today we are dissecting Season 1, Chapter 4, The Body. Thank you for sharing a piece of your time and a piece of your day as we bring you a piece of a little show called Stranger Things. My name is Chris. I'm here with Sterling. Sterling, did you watch the episode?
Oh, did I watch the episode called The Body? You best believe I did, brother. That
The
thing
Body.
was stuffed, it was real, it was fake, and it was a doozy, I'll tell you that one.
Oh, man. Well, so getting into this episode, I don't know if you felt it, but I felt it was very dialogue heavy. I don't know if you felt that because I'm taking so many
Yes.
notes.
Yes.
One, it does jump around a lot, specifically with Hopper. He's living up to his name as Hopper because he's hopping around. He's all over the place. I don't know if you noticed that.
He is.
I mean,
This
a lot of his
episode
scenes,
is just jumping from scene to scene to scene to scene as fast as possible.
yeah, but a lot of it is Hopper. He's like in a different place in every single scene, it feels like.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, but when they get to a spot, it's a lot of dialogue, especially at the beginning with the first scene, and then just a few other thoughts off the top of my head. Like 11 was pretty good in this episode. It's like my favorite 11 episode.
Okay.
And then also Dustin is kind of ramping up. He's turning into Dustin in this episode. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did. I also think that Joyce, Winona Ryder, is the backbone of this episode. She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And as the episode goes on, you're just like, she is chewing up the scenery. The emotions are all over the spectrum, and her and Jonathan's back and forth in public was kind of the
Yeah.
highlight scene of this episode.
Yeah, sometimes I forget if that is a more of a Jonathan scene than a Joyce, but she
Sure.
steals it at the end, I feel like, where she just
Yeah.
sends him off packing and he's just mad. But I don't know. I thought she did do a really good job in this episode for sure. And she got
Wh-
the MVP, I think, from you in the previous episode, but I think she's gonna get another one this one.
Oh, I don't think it's hard to, like, you really can't pick anybody else. Maybe Hopper, because he has some fun scenes, whereas
Yeah.
Joyce is like the emotional part of the episode. But man, Winona deserved all the praise in season 1, and this, I think, is one of the bigger episodes showing that, because she is tremendous in this one. Like every scene she's
Yeah.
in, you're just like, I feel so bad for her, which again goes to her acting
Well,
credits. She's awesome.
Well, in season 1 is just that's the Winona season. This is her season for sure, and she's shown
Yes.
it once again. Anything else stood out that before we get to it?
We finally get Ted Wheeler being an actual father.
Yeah, sort
kinda
of. I
funny.
mean, we can talk about that for a second when we get there.
He tries. He tries.
Karen just brushes him off. She's like, "Don't even try. What are you doing?"
Go to your lazy boy and be quiet,
Yeah.
Ted. No one likes you. But
I guess-
let's get into this, man. Let's get into this.
Yeah. So obviously, we always say we're spoiler heavy. We like to compare the episodes in the season we're in with episodes down the line because we've seen all the episodes. We start with our pregame, which is what we're just about to wrap up here. We go into our play-by-play, scene by scene, and then we finish off with a little post-game. Try to hand out an MVP, maybe a favorite quote if we got one, and then one other thing, but we'll get there when we get there. One thing I forgot I did want to mention is, where did we leave off in the previous episode? Remember, we left off with Mike. I think he started kind of crying because they found what they thought was Will's body in the quarry, and he rode off on his bike, right? And crying, and everyone's like, "Mike, come back! Don't do this!" But I love how this pit when we do get to Mike. I just wanted to get it out of the way now because when we get there, it's just him and 11 back in the basement, and they're just hanging out. Like, I don't know if you've ever gotten into a fight with a friend when you were little, but it's like you fight, but then you move on really quickly too. I don't know if you ever felt that, because it just seemed like he's still mad at her, but they just kind of are like still hanging out in the same space. Like when I first saw this
Well,
episode, I thought they were just splitting up and we're done here, but no, they're just back and hanging out. He's mad, but they're still together.
I guess in their case, they kind of have to because he is hiding her. I did find it funny. He's like screaming at her when they're in the basement, and I'm like, does Ted and Karen not hear what's happening in the basement? Mike's just yelling at random people or himself. Like,
I didn't even think about that.
Loud for hiding a child in the basement, but I don't know. Guess maybe the basement is soundproof for all we know.
It must be soundproof. All right, let's get into it. All right, we are here with season 1, chapter 4, The Body.
The Body.
So it starts off. Did you see how we got the phase down from the stars onto the Byers house? Thought that was pretty cool.
That's the third time they've done that, I think, in the show through 4 episodes, I believe.
Oh, going from the sky?
Yeah, they had the first one where you go from the sky to the Hawkins Lab.
Yeah, first episode.
And I think it's episode 2, they go from the sky to the lightning at the Wheeler's house.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this one, it's to the sky onto the Byers house. So they've gone kind of Lab, Wheeler's, and Byers house, kind of giving you a different, the same shot. It's like a different feel from each like big house or big destination you're going to be at throughout the season.
Yeah, for sure. Where were we? We got
you get the police lights flashing in the distance, and like they're at the Byers house, and kind of setting the scene of like something's going on here. Which we already know.
Hop and the cops are inside, and they're looking around for the Demogorgon, checking the wall. Which again, there's no marks on the wall. Where in later episodes, if a demo comes in, he leaves a trace, but they're not leaving a trace in season 1. But then you get a Hop. He's talking to Joyce with that distorted, echoey voice. Did you notice how they did that? Where Joyce is kind of like, she's not really taking in anything he's saying, but he's trying to tell her like, "Hey, we found Will's body at the quarry," but she doesn't want to listen. She's not really paying attention to that. She goes, "Whoever you found, that's not my boy."
Yeah, I talked to him half an hour ago.
I was just texting with him, and then she goes over and she's got the lights and she's like, oh, kind of just frantic and panicky, like, oh, she's clinging to this little like sense of he's still alive with the lights while she's holding him, and she's just like, look, what, 1 blink for yes, 2 for no, like she's just saying these things that make sense to her but to no one else. She shows them the ABCs. She tells them how she talked to the Demogorgon, or about the Demogorgon coming through the wall. Jonathan's like kind of just I think he just says like one little thing that he's just kind of mad and he's had enough, and he's out of there. He leaves, goes to his room.
Well, it doesn't make sense to anybody because she's the only person that at that point in time has seen the Demogorgon. Nancy later learns that with the photos and everything that something happened, and like Winona's like basically telling the police and even her own son Jonathan, like, you don't know what you're talking about. None of you have any idea what's going on. I'm the only person that knows what's happening here. I'm not crazy. And she's like frantically saying, kind of trying to get Hopper to believe what she starts to believe later on in this episode, which is really cool. But I do like going back to the kind of distorted, voice you have of Hopper. She is zoned in on that wall of like, what? Like, did I see something? No, I know what I saw. I am buying into what I saw.
Yeah.
And he kind of snaps her out of it for a second and is like, Joyce, we found your kid. He's dead. Like, we found him in the quarry and something's wrong. And she's like, no, like you said, I'm not buying that whatsoever.
Yeah. And then he gets that to her level and he's talking about his connection with Sarah when his daughter passed away. This is obviously in her mind because of what she's saying sounds crazy, and she says that. And she says that a bunch of times, actually, in this episode. I know I sound crazy. I know this doesn't sound sane, but then one of the lines she says is, I need you to believe me. She needs someone to just believe it and understand that this is real, that it's not fake, because she needs her boy. But then we get how
she has
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, she has a great line when her and Hopper are talking, and I think it's in this instance where he's trying to kind of relate his experience losing a child to now what he believes is her experience losing a child. And she doesn't snap at him, but she does kind of kind of give him some pushback and says, I think it's one of the best quotes of the entire episode of, "You're talking about grief. This is different. She is not buying her son's dead." And he's like, "No, your son is dead." And she's saying, No. You had to go through grief. This is not grief at all. My son is still alive. And more importantly, there's a monster in my wall that no one seems to believe in. This is not the same situation.
Yeah. And I just want to say before we go on with this scene, like, this is a long, like, beginning scene for this show, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of not that it drags on, but it's just kind of a long beginning scene where, like, in the previous episode, before we got to the title crawl, I mean, it was only like a minute. This is a really long before we even get to the title crawl, because then the next thing that happens,
it's like, now you're in it. Now you have a police investigation. Your kid's found. You have some extraterrestrial kind of interdimensional things happening. Like, it's all kind of coming to the forefront of, like, okay, like, you're in the thick of this thing. Episode 4, you're halfway through the season. You have what's in front of you. Buckle up.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that too. Like, this episode, like, you're still building. You're not like you're still getting questions, not so many answers, but you're just still invested because of these characters that you're really learning and coming to care for. You care about these characters and you want to see what happens. You want to find Will. You want to know what's just going on. But so the next thing that happens is Hopper leaves the room, and that's right when that music beat starts, which I thought was really cool. I don't know if you know what this song was called, but I looked it up. It's called Atmosphere by Joy Division, which that guy has kind of an odd singing voice, where it's not like the best singing voice, but it's still good. But it hits like, it's like what this scene needed, where the sound is like, it starts with like that beat where it's like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun.
You're starting to get that build up, the ascension of the tension building between the adults and the kids, and I'm sure you're going to say, like, Hopper goes to his car and he's like, "I'm going to leave." Starts the car, then turns it off, and is like, I should probably stick around for the night just in case something else happens.
Yeah, puts his hat over his eyes. He's gonna stay, and then it jumps to Jonathan. He's got his headphones in his bed, in his bed, and he's crying. He's
holding his pillow
there. Poor Jonathan. And then it gets back to Joyce, who she marches out to the shed and grabs an axe, marches back to the couch, and she just sits there ready, like, "Let's go, come on, bring it on."
That is
it's good.
Mother. That is the mama bear coming out of, like, okay, if you don't believe my boy, I know that thing's coming back at some point, because I know that wall is not steady or sturdy. And she's like, if I got to swing this puppy, we're swinging for the fences later.
Nice. And then and then the axe too. We'll see Joyce with the axe more than just in this season.
Oh yeah,
she finishes the series with an axe. Then we jump to the Wheelers' house. You got Karen and Ted sitting on the couch watching the news. The news is talking about Will's body being found, and this is where we get Ted going, "Should I go talk to Mike?" Because I guess Mike's down in the basement, and just Karen goes, "Nah, you just stay there. You suck at being a father." But she really just says, "Give him time."
Yeah, which I think is probably what most moms would say. Like, mothers are usually the nurturer of the relationship, and fathers usually can give you, not that mothers can't, but fathers will give you kind of the wise advice after the fact of how to move on, or how to cope with it, rather than what's your emotional reaction to it immediately. And so I do like that Ted is trying to be a father of, like, should I go down, talk to my son? He's my only son. I should probably go talk to him. And Karen's like, the wound's probably too fresh for your idiocy right now. Okay?
Exactly. But then we're down in the basement. This is what I was talking about, how we go from the kids were at the quarry crying, and now boom, they're just back in the basement just being kids. But Mike is he is mad at 11 still, and he says that. But he's currently looking at what I think is some of Will's pictures that he's drawn, thinking about Will. 11's fiddling with what I keep calling a radio, but I believe it's a walkie-talkie. But I kept calling it a radio for the last 3 episodes, but whatever. But she's sitting under her little
same thing.
Her little fort. Yeah, she's in her little fort playing with the radio, and Mike's mad at her. He says Lucas was right, which I did not like hearing, because Lucas was not right. 11, she ends up locating Will on the the walkie, and you hear him singing the usual song that he's always singing. Was it The Clash?
Yeah.
And then 11's got a little bloody nose, and then she kind of looks at Mike, and I broke right here with a look like, "Told ya."
Yeah.
And I also think it's like, see, we find proof that Will is alive even before we even get to the title break. We already got proof. He's alive. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Stay with us here.
I also like how, and this is kind of how most mysteries work, but in this case, like, this isn't a detective story of only adult cops or police officers trying to find a missing person or a murderer or a killer. You have Joyce, who is pleading with the cops, basically, of like, my kid's not dead. That's not my kid. And Hopper. Now you have the boys and 11 that they know Will's alive. Like, they get confirmation he's not dead before the cops even know, before Joyce even knows they know. Then later you get Nancy, who's like, something else is going on. Like, it's all these people putting things together at different points in time, trying to get others to finally believe them. And it's like, if y'all would just talk to each other, you would know.
That's a good point.
like Nancy and Mike live in the same house. If you have a conversation, you will be on the same page.
That seems to be the issue for pretty much every season anyways, where everybody knows something, but if you would all just come together and talk, but that's also the thing where there's no cell phones, so you can't just or you can't just text or call anybody. Be like, hey, guess what I found? No, that's how you keep it all separated and you have this story.
Right.
But the last thing I say, the last thing that happens here is a Mike goes, when he hears Will's voice, he goes, "Is that?" And then 11 finishes it with, "Will," and she looks all cute up at the camera. Also, I did notice that.
There's the intro, folks. There you go.
You made me do it. But I did want to point out that the way these radios and walkie-talkies work when you hear someone in the other world is it's not a two-way thing. You can hear them, but they can't hear you. You can't talk back.
Right.
But that was the title crawl, the do. And then the title fades through. We fade through the title to the next scene, which is Joyce asleep with the axe. And she's dreaming about Will, which is a scary scene because it switches from Will to Jonathan really fast. And it was kind of a scary little spot. And then it's just Jonathan saying, we got to go see Will. We got to go see his body. Going to go to the coroner's. And then we jump to the Wheelers where you got Karen going into Mike's room. And Mike is doing his best Ferris Bueller impression. I don't know if you got that. Where he's pretending to be sick. He's got to stay home. And Karen even says something about like, well, what if we go get some movies and get some R-rated movies? And he's like, nah, I'm good.
What a great mom.
Karen.
I don't know what mom is like, hey, your friend just died. Let's go get some R-rated movies.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's
that
like,
is
nah.
peak mother right there.
Right? He's
Which
like,
should have been
nah,
the first red
I'm
flag.
busy.
Why is my son turning down R-rated movies? Wake up, Karen. Someone's hiding something.
He's sad. He's missing Will.
Man.
But he goes, I'm good. And then right when she leaves, he pops up. He's already dressed, kind of like the Ferris Bueller thing, you know. He's got the walkie-talkie out. He's calling Lucas, going, Lucas, do you copy? Over and over, because Lucas we see him on his bed, and he's sitting there all, you know, he's all sad about Will. And he goes, no, come on, answer. Come on, this is about Will. And then when Lucas answers, he goes, what? Is it just about Will's funeral? He goes, no, screw his funeral. And get over here and bring Dustin. I just thought that was
a great quote. Screw his funeral.
Screw his funeral. I love that quote. And bring Dustin. And then we're at the coroner's. Hop is waiting there. We find out he's talking to, I guess, the lady at the desk that Mr. Gary Coroner was sent home by the Stadies. Gary Coroner. By the Stadies. I think it's funny how they call them the Stadies a few times.
The Stadies.
But then Hop, I didn't know what he was getting at. Yeah. I didn't know what he was getting at first, but then he's like, well, who did the autopsy? I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. Who did the autopsy on the Will's body? And then we jump back to Joyce and Jonathan checking on Will's body. Okay, so they're at the coroner's office and they're checking Will's body. Which, do you remember how they're looking through that window and like looking at the body and it's kind of really far away? They're like, keep it far back. Don't let them see. Did you notice that?
Exactly. I did.
It's
yes,
not. It's not like they're not walking in and looking at it really close and able to touch it. They're like, no, you stay on the other side of this window, and we'll be like 10, 20 feet back. Hey, yeah, is this him? Cool, thanks. But then that's when Joyce goes, hey, is there a birthmark on his right arm?
Yeah.
Which obviously, there's always the birthmark.
Always.
Yeah, that's in. You've seen that in multiple like movies or TV shows. They're always, yeah, it's still used today. But we don't get that yet. We go back to the waiting room where there's Hop and Jonathan, and they're talking. They're having a little conversation. I don't know if this is our first. I guess they have talked before. They talked before outside their house, but they're having a little heart to heart there about Joyce actually saying Jonathan's worried about her, but they both kind of agree that she's tough. She's a tough mom. She's a tough lady.
It's a really small interaction, but I do like this back and forth of, like you said, Hopper telling Jonathan, hey, your mom's tough. And he's like, yeah, she is tough. Like, Jonathan kind of having to assume the male role in the household and take care of Will and also work and everything and help his mom out. Like, you do get the appreciation for Joyce from Jonathan of like, I've seen my mom go through hell. Like, she's been through a lot and she has somehow found a way to make a way through it all. And I think most people can probably say their moms are pretty damn tough. My mom's pretty tough. She's been through a lot of stuff. Most
moms are tough.
like dads have
For
the brute strength usually, but most moms, like, they don't get enough credit for how tough they are. Like,
moms are tough,
man,
in more ways than one, right?
Oh yes. And you get that from Jonathan being like, yeah, my mom is tough.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Remember, they can lift a car if they needed to. They can find the strength.
You never know, man.
Right? Because that's when we get Joyce barging through the coroner's office into the waiting room, just screaming and yelling. I don't know what you think that is, but that is not my son.
Did you catch who the doctor she yells at is?
Yeah. I got that. It's Sean Levy,
the
director. Yeah. We forgot to mention that at the beginning. Sean Levy is the director of the previous episode and this one.
Okay.
And a different writer too. It's a man by the name of Justin Doble or Justin Dobble. Not sure how to pronounce his name, but he's the writer. I think he does a good job with this episode because this is a good episode. But I don't know if you've looked at his other episodes he directs in this series. He does one more in this one, the penultimate, so episode 7, which is a good episode. Okay. Very good. But he's also the director of the infamous episode 7 of season 2. Oh,
The Lost Sister?
So, yeah. So he does a great job in season 1.
Fired.
Which is also... Well, yeah, because that's also the last episode he will go on to direct for this series.
He did get fired.
Yeah, well, so spoiler alert, he will direct episode 3 of season 2, which is the second worst episode of season 2.
Oh,
so he directs episode 3 of season 2, which is kind of mediocre, and then he directs episode 7. He wrote season episode 7, and then they're like, okay, well, we're done here. But he has gone forward. I did look up. He's writing for the Lord of the Rings show, The Rings of Power.
Oh,
so he's doing something. He's still got work. He's doing something.
I don't think people like that show as much.
So no, I don't think so either. But at least he's getting paid at least.
Hey. Maybe he shouldn't be, but I digress. Good for him.
Yeah. But anyways, Joyce, she runs out of the coroner's office just yelling, "That thing is not my son." And then the next scene is the only Steve scene we get in this episode, where we're back at Hawkins, and Steve and Nancy are in that little like outdoor brick hallway thing. You see them in this spot a few times, at least in the first 2 seasons. I know they converse. They like to hide and converse in this brick outdoor alley, and they're talking about Barb is missing, and then how Nancy went back to Steve's house to look for her, and she saw some guy with no face. But all Steve can think about is just being a jerk about, oh no, this is gonna be bad for me. They don't mention the beers if you tell anybody you were over there. My dad's gonna kill me. It's not the best scene for Steve.
This reminded me, and it's probably because I just saw Scream 7 in theaters a couple days ago. But Stu, who is one of the killers, spoilers in Scream 1, when he's like getting chased around or like things are breaking down and he's like, oh man, I just killed all these people, my mom and dad are gonna kill me. It's like you have much bigger things to worry about.
Yeah,
He's
no
just like,
kidding.
my mom and dad are gonna kill me.
Yeah, well, Steve
I
over
have a
here, all
question
he's
for
worried about
you.
is the beers.
Yeah, he's like, look, I got like
That's not a big deal.
Barb being dead is not my problem, but my dad's gonna kick my ass when he sees those beers.
Yeah, like that's, oh my God.
I do have a question for you though, because we asked each other and discussed what Nancy really saw at Steve's house. Was it like a wolf? Was it a dog? Was it, I don't know, whatever. She
I had that
is
here
hinting
too.
at seeing the Demogorgon out in public during the day, which we
During
haven't
the
seen
day.
before.
I know, I thought the same thing. Like, I didn't think they could come out in the day. I thought like light would like
They're
hurt them,
nocturnal.
but I don't know if we ever even found out if they are. Did we ever see a scene where if sunlight or daylight hit them that they like would combust or something? I don't think we ever saw that, but I guess that's just our assumption.
Yeah. But yeah, they're not. It's creepier if they're out at nighttime than out during the day. And I'm sure putting them out at nighttime would hide the CGI rather than, putting them out in the day. But I just find it funny, like, okay, the Demogorgon's out during the day and nothing happens. He didn't take anybody. He just roaming around Hawkins in the right side up, doing nothing. He doesn't kill Nancy.
Another thought that I had is: are we dealing with multiple Demogorgons in this season? Because we know there are. Yeah, because it seemed like there was just one. But
yes,
if we want to say there's multiple, and maybe there is one hanging out the Byers, and there's another one over at Steve's house. And maybe that's also some reason for the Barb and Will connection, where this one wanted to take Barb and this one wanted to take Will. I don't know. Just trying to come up with something.
I am under the assumption that there is one Demogorgon doing all of the work. There's one villain in this story, and it's just one Demogorgon. So I think it's the same one. I just find it interesting that it's just roaming around Hawkins, like
during
like
the
a big
day,
trench coat on and a big top hat, like walking around like no one knows what I am, like, or is this like crawling around all fours like? Like,
well, it probably did that funny turn thing that it likes to do, where it probably was in the it just turned, scared Nancy, she ran away, and that's it. It likes to do the turn thing.
But it doesn't chase her, doesn't do anything.
No, because it's daylight. Fine. Maybe they can't run as fast during the day. Maybe he can just turn.
They didn't do any dynamic stretching just yet before they saw Nancy and said, "Oh crap, let me do some calf stretches first before start running after." Oh no, it's too late. Sorry.
It's another one of these times where we just got to be like, it's season 1. It wasn't fully thought out yet. Yeah. It's just so the show can happen, and we move on. So the next scene is actually it's that rough scene with Jonathan and Joyce fighting on the street in the streets of Hawkins.
Throwing hands, dukes up.
Yeah. Jonathan's he's following Joyce, who's walking down the street in his car, and he's like, "Come on, Mom, we gotta go." And she's like, "No," and so he parks his car. He gets out and runs over to her. He does the little side run. I don't know if you noticed that he did the side another call out to the side run.
Yes.
And he's like talking about how we need to get ready for the funeral. We need to make plans. And then he actually starts making fun of her for the lights and the monsters in the wall, which was not nice.
Yeah.
And so that's when Joyce yells back, and she's like, "I know it sounds crazy, but I heard him. He's out there. I don't care if it sounds crazy. I'm gonna bring him home."
Yeah.
I thought she nailed this scene. Do you have any thoughts there? Because I know Winona's one of your favorites in this season.
This scene, you can tell they have been at odds with each other before this scene even starts, whether it is at the house in the cold open, in previous episodes. Like, Jonathan is trying to start the grieving process, and Joyce is like, "No, we're not grieving for somebody who's not dead." And Jonathan's like, "No, he is dead. Like, we have to start picking the pieces back up and moving on. We have to accept reality," which I'm sure is kind of what they've done when Lonnie left, when other things have happened in their lives. And so Jonathan's like, this is just part of the cycle. Like, we are given a terrible deck of cards. We got to move on now. And Joyce is like, this deck is not fixed, brother. Like, there is something else going on. And you do get the sense, like, you got to think, he's driving his car. She's walking. How far is the corner of the morgue to where she's going? Like, Jonathan probably is yelling at her through the window for a mile or two before they can even get there. So
I would say probably just a few blocks. Just a few blocks.
But even then, like, he's still, mom, get in the car. Like, and she's like, no, I'm not getting in the car. And there is like this, again, the kind of the combativeness of like trying to grieve and process and not willing to grieve and not willing to kind of be open to the thought of their son being dead. I don't know exactly what he says, so I'll kind of just paraphrase it, but it's something along the lines of, she yells at him and then she walks away, and then he says like, well, we'll be getting ready for the funeral. Then he storms off back to the car.
Well, I got here because he throws the lights back at her again, because he goes, well, while you go talk to the lights, I'm gonna go have a funeral.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not
so
on his
brutal.
side, because he, in his thinking, he is right, because she sounds crazy and she knows she sounds crazy. So like, it's just this fight back and forth where one person is trying to be sane and logic, and she is also trying to do that, but it doesn't make sense. Like, nothing is making sense. Well, it will start to eventually, but.
Right, but it's the same thing with Lucas and Mike, where initially Lucas is like, no powers, no, she's weirdo with 11.
Yeah.
And Mike's like, no, you have to be open to the thought something bigger is happening here. So you're getting kind of the same, not plot line or storyline. It's done very differently, but you are kind of getting the compare and contrast with Jonathan and Joyce, and then Will or Mike and Lucas, because two of them want to live in reality in this grounded universe, and two of them are like, expect the unexpected, because again, crazy things are happening.
Yeah, they don't know there's magic and powers in this world yet.
Not yet.
Obviously a little crowd shows up and watches them do their fighting, and then when Jonathan walks away, he just yells, he does the "show's over" to everybody. Everyone always does that whenever there's a crowd. Show's over. Yeah, show's over, and he walks away. And then we're back in the basement. 11 is trying to tap back into Will. Lucas and Dustin have arrived. Mike is trying to get Lucas to believe him, but 11's unable to really get Will on the walkie-talkie. It's just a little bit of babbling in the background, and Lucas thinks it sounds like a baby monitor. But Mike tells him, like, hey, come on, we heard him. He was singing that weird song he loves, which I thought was a funny quote as well. He was singing that weird song he's always singing. You know, he's always singing that Clash song.
Is that the first time that Will has, or Mike has used the word weird in describing anything in the show?
Probably, yeah.
Because he didn't do it with 11. He wouldn't do it with Will earlier, but he's like, that weird song that no one likes.
Yeah, that weird song he's always singing, because we hear that song a lot in this season.
yeah, a lot.
Mike says she's trying to channel him, and Dustin says, like Professor X. I like how he chimes in with another one of his, comic book character analogies. And then Lucas is just saying, we saw his body get pulled out of the water. He's dead. Will is dead. And Mike is just very adamant. He goes, no, Will is alive. And then that's when we get, they're thinking they need to find a stronger radio so they can get a better radio signal, so maybe 11 can use her powers and really tap into Will, and they can find him and prove to Lucas, yeah, he's alive. And they think they're going to go to Mr. Clark's radio room at the school, but they first need to disguise 11. But also a little note I had here is, throughout this scene, Lucas is calling 11 a weirdo over and over still.
Yeah.
I thought we were done with that when she proved that she had powers, but no, she's still a weirdo to him. I don't know. I think she'll eventually not become weirdo to him, but she still is.
I think he's hoping that if Will is dead, she's not part of the friend group. That's me assuming that's what he's assuming, of like, Will's dead, why are you still here, kind of thing. But
yeah, I guess his friendship with her has to do with Will, I guess. So if Will's alive, she's a friend. If he's not, she's a weirdo. But then we get a really good scene where they're dressing up Eleven. There's really
makeup tutorial.
Yeah, a really good score behind it too. I thought the synth music they used for this scene was great. Yeah, Mike's doing the makeup, which I think he does a good job. Lucas and Dustin are going through some of Nancy's clothes to try to find like a wig for her and some clothes, and I love this scene. Dustin puts the wig on, that does his little smile. At the end of it, Dustin goes, "She looks," and then Mike finishes the sentence with "pretty," but then he catches himself and goes, "Pretty good." I mean, pretty good. Yeah.
He is head over heels for little 11.
And then 11 has to go look in the mirror at her and at herself, and she says, "Pretty good." I think that's her just saying, "Pretty. Me being pretty is good."
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you saw, but did you see when she's looking in the mirror? Mike is the only other person you can see in the back of the mirror.
Oh,
so they're both in the mirror. Yeah, Mike is also framed in the mirror as well. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Good job. Good catch.
Oh, thanks.
Well, this is the ET, like starting to build towards the ET homage, right? For the wig and the dress. Like this is the beginning of it.
I remember watching this the first time, and it totally reminded me of ET for sure. Then where are we? We go back to the Hawkins Lab, and then there's some dude in a special yellow glowy suit who's getting all hooked up into a cord here. I guess this guy's gonna go into the gate that's open. Brenner's there. He's telling him good luck. Do you do a good Brenner impression?
No, I don't.
He goes,
"I can do all the kids, not Brenner."
Sterling does all the kids, but not Brenner. He goes, "Good luck in there, son." That's what we get from him. So this guy in the yellow suit, he goes into the gate, and then the gate closes. But I thought the gate looked good. I don't know if you noticed that. The CGI on the gate.
I thought it looked kind of bad.
Really? I thought it looked good. I liked it.
They showed it off in this episode a lot more than they usually have in the first couple ones. They felt like they maybe had a higher budget here, or because there's less action, they wanted to utilize the CGI more. I thought it looked a little rough in scenes. I was like, "Oh,
have you heard the rumor that they have actually gone back and CGI'd at different scenes after the fact?"
I've heard they put in like the Vecna sound stuff in certain early episodes. I haven't heard the CGI thing though.
Well, there's a rumor that they may have done that. I don't know for sure, but it's just a rumor. But I feel like these clips because we'll see the gate one more time too. I thought it looked good. I was thinking maybe this is one of those.
It just looked too glossy for me. But
I just liked how it's all stringy, and then the strings like come together on their own. I thought it was kind of creepy too, a little bit actually.
Yeah. It's like you ain't coming back. Once you get in, gates closed.
Yeah. And then we jump to Nancy in I assume her English class, and she's just in there for a second until she gets pulled out of class. Someone comes to get her, and then we're in the cafeteria. It's Nancy in the cafeteria. Her mom, Karen, her mom is there, and I feel bad for her because it's Powell and Callahan are there to question
my
her.
Favorites.
Okay. They're not my favorites, but because they do create a comedic part of the episodes, they're starting to become my favorites, but I still don't like them at the same time. Specifically Callahan. Don't like Callahan very much.
I just feel bad because like in this episode, they're just doing honest police work, and it's like you really screwed Nancy over in front of her mom, like big time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can get into this part a little bit. It's a weird and uncomfortable scene. They're just questioning her about Barb. Nancy does tell them how she went back and saw something walking around in the woods, something with no face, I guess. They say that Barb's car is gone. That's one point. They say, well, we went back over there to look, and Barb's car is gone. So that's interesting. I don't know if you noticed that.
Are we to assume the government went and got it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The people at the lab, they went and got her car. But then they find a way, specifically Callahan, to swing the conversation over to Steve and asking, like, do you think Barb is jealous about Steve? And then Callahan calls her out for going up to Steve's room. And she's just like, well, we're just friends. And I was just up there changing because we were in the pool, you know. And then the final line, which I thought was funny, was this before or after you changed your clothes? Do you remember what he was talking about? I just like that line.
Yeah. He's like trying to pressure a little bit to like give them an answer, and he's like, "Well, okay, like we know what happened."
He knows, and he's like, he's just being a creep and asking her questions about it. But he does pull off the being a creep with his questioning and just the way he talks and the way he looks.
I think he just knows that like you were hiding something, and we are looking for any sort of answers here to understand the situation, because something again is like a little boy's missing, now a teenage girl's missing. Like I can't go back to Hopper with nothing. Like we can't keep telling parents nothing. So give me something. And Karen's like, I know what you did, Nancy.
We'll get to that in a minute. Let's move on to the next scene. We're at the police station, and Hop is questioning Gary the coroner. Yeah. About how the Stadies came over and kicked him out of there because they want to do the autopsy on the body. And then Gary just says how he thought it was a little over the top. And then Hop asks him, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, it's over the top for Will Byers, and it's not John F. Kennedy."
Right.
So clearly it's like something felt off to him, because it was obviously. And then that's when Hop looks over at the news, and he sees them talking to one of the Stadies. I think it's a state trooper. His name is O'Bannon. That's where he sees this O'Bannon guy being interviewed on the news. Yeah. Because he'll, in a few scenes later, we'll see him talking to this O'Bannon guy. And I actually had to go back and figure out how he knew who this O'Bannon guy was, because when we were in that scene when they're in the bar, I'm like, how does he know who this guy is? Like, how did he find him? But this is where it was. I went back and looked. He saw O'Bannon's face on the news in this scene, so that's how he did that. The next scene coming up is actually a fun one of my favorites. The kids are biking through the town with 11 all dressed up, and she's looking at the town, looking super curious about the town. She's like looking around like, "Oh, this is a cool town." And then they get to the school, and they're walking down their hallway in the school, and Mike goes, "Okay, everyone, remember to look sad." Because there's going to be an assembly for Will, and everyone's supposed to be sad about Will, and they're his friends, but they know, or his assumption is Will is alive. He's not dead, so he's not looking sad. He's on a mission, and they're going to go to Mr. Clark's radio room, but they get to his door and it's locked, and that's when Dustin turns to 11 and says, "Hey, can you open it with your powers?" Which I thought was funny, but right when he says that, Mr. Clark turns the corner and he goes, "Hey, come on, guys, the assembly's about to start." And this scene was hilarious. Did you notice how Lucas starts leaning against the door, looking all funny? They're supposed to look sad, but he's like leaning on the door. He smiles, but then turns into a frown real quick.
He goes, upset.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I was supposed to be sad. Oh, and then Mike was saying something about how we needed some alone time, and then Dustin follows that up with to cry. And then Clark goes, "Well, come on, guy, we just need to be there for a Will." But you know what? After the assembly, he does a cool key toss to Mike. He goes, "You can use the Heath kit for as long as you want." Apparently, that's what the radio is called, a Heath kit. And then he spots 11 and goes, "Hey, this is someone new. What's your name?" And she starts to say 11, and then someone goes, "Eleanor, she's my cousin." And that's Mike going, "She's my cousin," and then Dustin has to add second cousin. Thought that was funny too. And then Mr. Clark wants to ask her, "Hey, where are you from?" And I love how she just goes, "Bad place." And then I forget who says Sweden. Someone says Sweden, and then someone says she hates it there. It's super cold. And then that's when Dustin goes Sub-Zero. This scene is so funny.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then we got the school assembly where Dustin just barges in, makes the doors sound so loud to make everyone have to turn their head and look over at them. And then that's when Dustin goes, "Abort!" He tries to turn and get out of there. And Lucas grabs him and shoves him back. but it's hilarious. But I don't know what you think, but like if you were to walk into a room like that and everyone turned towards you when you were a kid, wouldn't you want to be like, all right, let's get out of here?
So when I was in high school, we used to have like a weekly chapel, and if you were late getting in, sometimes they'd force you to go walk into the bleachers. But there's 4 freshmen to seniors in there, and like if you were late, sometimes you can just like kind of hide in the corner and like observe, but like not sit
Yeah.
down, or you sit on the floor. I was
Yeah.
like, that's what I would do. I would go kind of hide in the corner so no one could see me and go, okay, that was weird, but let's not make too much of a scene. Instead of being like, excuse me, can I get through? Can I get through? I have to walk in. And you're like, oh my God. It's like going into a theater, you walking when the opening scene's coming up, and it's like, really? Like you came this late? But yeah, I don't know.
What's funny about these assembly rooms, it seems like the doors are always super noisy when you open them. So it's like it's hard
They're
for you
like
to sneak in. Like
janky metal rattling.
yeah, they're
doors.
janky. Yeah, they make like a giant noise just when you like click them out. Like the click rattles around the room, so everyone has to look and see who's coming in late.
There was no gym in America that was made before the 1970s. All the doors are like Vietnam era doors that are just metal to the core, and they're so loud.
Right? No kidding. But I did note, I don't know if you saw 11. Her face, she's doing a great job with her face acting for this whole season, because she doesn't have a ton of lines because her character doesn't talk a lot, doesn't know how to talk a lot, but her face is like shocked by all the kids in there. Like, whoa, that's more kids than I've ever seen. Like,
she's like, oh, cool. This is what kids are supposed to be doing on a daily basis, not crushing coke cans and abusing animals. Interesting. Right? Who would have thought?
And then we cut back to the Wheeler's house, and Karen's just mad that Nancy lied to the police, and she goes, "You slept with Steve," and then that's when you get a classic Nancy line of, "It's all bullshit." She goes, and none of this has anything to do with Barb, and then she just storms upstairs. And then we're in Nancy's room, and she's on her bed, and then that's when she decides to pull out all those ripped up pictures that she had from Jonathan, and she starts doing a little picture puzzle, putting them together. And then I noticed this too. When she's putting the little picture puzzle together, I think we see her do that at least once, if not a couple more times down the line in another season.
Oh,
yeah. At least season 4, but maybe next season too.
I did laugh when.
Yeah, but it's not.
I did laugh when she's putting the photo together, and the Demogorgon is what kind of catches her eye, right? Like, oh, like what is that? Like that's an odd shape in the corner, but like it's like the very like narrow side of the photo on the right hand side, and there's a whole like 3/4 of it is like nothing, and I'm like, why did you have to tape the whole thing together? Why didn't you just tape those 2 pieces? That's all you wanted to see.
Yeah.
You didn't need the rest of it at all. Like, you wasted all that time, which it wasn't much. Like, you wasted all that tape and all the effort to put that photo back together when the Demogorgon's like in one little sliver of the right-hand corner. But Nancy just being and doing her due diligence. So give her the credit, I guess.
All I can think is she wants it taped together so she can take the whole picture to Jonathan and be like, can you make this again? Like, do you have like the little thing that can you develop another one?
Sure.
That's all I can think of. And then we're back at the lab. We got Brenner. He's there sending, or no, I think they're talking to the guy that they sent in. His name is Shepard.
Shepard. Yeah.
Yeah. And Brenner goes, "Shepard, where are you? Describe what you see." And then Shepard, he talks to them. They go back and forth just for a minute, but then you hear what I put was it sounded like the raptor noise from the Demogorgon again. You know, remember how we talked about how it kind of sounds like a raptor from Jurassic Park? You hear that over the radio, and then you hear some noise inside the radio. Something's happening. Brenner starts This is when Brenner yells, which I don't know if I didn't remember him ever yelling before, but he yells, "Reel him back in!" And then so the chain is all wiggling because obviously something's pulling on it. Then the chain goes limp. Then when they roll it back in, it's a bloody chain that returns.
We do get our first description of the Upside Down here, though,
Oh, that's right. Yes.
because he
You remember
calls
what he
it
said?
corroded and covered in blood,
Sure.
which I'm sure
It
it's
is a
covered in blood
description.
because
We
the
saw it
Demogorgon was
when
around.
we saw it
Oh,
when
you're right. You're
Barb
right.
went in. So like we
Yeah.
did have a visual of it, but I guess hearing when someone else actually physically walks in
Yeah.
into it willingly, I guess that is good to know that okay, it looks the same for everybody. So
Well, like Barb isn't
Um,
like it's a very small part of it, right? It's like only the pool.
it is. She's
all
in
we
a
see.
she's
And,
in a
like,
pool mostly. Yeah.
And like Shepard is saying, I'm sure whether it's a lab or a different part of the Upside Down, but like it's corroded and covered in blood. Like that's a scary thought. I know we know what it looks like later, and it's not
Yeah.
covered in blood all the time, but like that's a pretty scary like picture in your head of oh my god, there's blood
Right?
everywhere. What happened?
Oh man. And then this is the other scene of the gate, the CGI on the gate that I mentioned, which I
Yeah.
thought this looked better than the previous one, but how the
I'd
gate
agree.
is all stringy. I thought it looked cool, but also gross. But
Yeah.
it was cool.
He goes, and you're like,
Yeah.
Annie, this is nasty.
Ew, gross. But this next scene, another really good scene for this episode. So you ready for this one?
Yes.
We're back in the assembly for Will, and it's a bunch of kids up on the bleachers, and I don't know if you noticed when they pan to our kids that Dustin looks over at 11 and does a funny little smirk.
He goes,
So he does a little smirk throughout this episode, at least 3 times. He did it another time when 11 was getting dressed during the ET scene, and then there's another smirk he does later on too. But he's always like looking at someone and smirking. But he has such a funny face. But anyways, you got Mike sitting there in the bleachers, and he's looking around at all these fakers. He calls them all fakers. He goes, "Look at these. They don't all care. No one knows Will here. Nobody cares. Why are they here?" And that's when you see Troy and his friend. They're over there just thinking it's hilarious, laughing about the whole thing and joking. And then that's when Mike and 11 lean over and look at them, and 11 goes, "Mouth breather." And right there, I don't know if you noticed, but she looked serious. Like you could see it in her eyes where she's like giving them the death glare. Like those
enemy. Yeah.
Yeah, enemy, but she calls them mouth breathers. And when the assembly's over, Mike is contemplating and he's like, I'm confronting these a-holes. So he goes over and confronts Troy. And he's like, "Hey, that was a crappy thing for you to do. This isn't a joke. Stop joking about this." And then that's when Troy goes, "Oh, come on, Will's in fairyland, all happy and gay with his other little gay boys." And it's like, oh my god, dude, you are such a jerk. I can't stand Troy.
I did laugh at what he said because I was just like, Jesus, dude.
Like, who talks like that in front of a ton of other people? Because there's other kids around.
Like, it was so outlandish.
And
I'm
possibly
like,
teachers.
your classmate is dead. Like, even if you're not friends with him, like, my God, dude.
Well, this kid is just insane. He thinks it's funny that he's dead. That's horrible.
Yeah.
But I put right here, this is my boy Mike, because Mike goes over and he pushes Troy to the floor. And then I also put, then after he pushes him, he squares up, ready. Like, Mike is like, "I'm pushing you, and then I'm going to sit here, and I don't care if you come and beat me up. I'm going to take it." Like, he's just like, go ahead. Like, my best friend's dead, and you think it's hilarious? Well, whatever. I'll take a punch. Go ahead.
I do like, though, that Mike knows that Will's not dead, but is still willing to stand up for him. Like, Will's not going to know this. Will's not going to see this. This is more of just like, I'm tired of you giving us grief for no reason. And this becomes a big reason why later on in the season that they try to kill Mike, which is kind of crazy to think about. But
oh god, yeah, looking forward. Oh my god,
like this is the catalyst to like, okay, fine, like now we're gonna kill you.
Yeah,
which is nuts,
well. This is also where if you wanted to put someone else on the board for MVP, this is where Mike had a shot for sure.
Sure.
At least for me. But obviously, Troy gets up angry, and he takes a few steps towards Mike, and then he gets force stopped by 11, and then he pees himself, and everyone's laughing and going ooh and ah. And this just reminded me when he's peeing himself of the soup. Have you seen Superbad when they go?
Yes.
People don't forget.
Oh,
No
God.
one in
It was
this
like the
school.
fourth grade.
It was like the fourth grade, man.
People
But
don't
no,
forget.
people don't forget. Yeah, I remember he kicks the soccer ball into the stands and then runs away. People don't forget. Well, because they're not going to forget, because there's a ton of people that saw him pee his pants.
Yeah.
And I don't believe we see Troy again. I think this is the only time after this season. Because I don't think we see him. I don't think we see him after the season. So I think he had to move away because of the pee pant.
and almost committing murder probably would be the other part of that, but sure.
That's true, but yeah.
I did find it funny that the principal doesn't react to Mike and Troy getting into it initially, and doesn't react to Will pushing down, or to Mike pushing down Troy, and is like la 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 la, talk to
maybe he didn't see that, I'm assuming.
But like he didn't hear everyone go, oh, like everyone's like being loud, like the entire school was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And he's like,
but then they're all
you're
laughing.
peeing your pants. What's going on over here?
But yeah, because then they're all laughing at him for the peeing the pants, which I thought was kind of funny too. Because they're like, Troy's peeing his pants. But then the best part.
What grade are they supposed to be in? Do we know?
7th,
like sixth, seventh grade,
six or seven. Yeah,
around middle school.
Middle school.
Okay. The latest I knew someone to pee their pants was the 4th grade. Like,
yeah.
What? They're 12, they're 13 around this age, right? Probably.
Yep.
Like,
yes.
Going back to your point,
that's hard to come back from.
Him having to leave is like, if you're 12 or 13 peeing your pants in front of the entire school, like, yikes. Also, if 11 can make anyone pee their pants, why didn't she do that more often? That'd be so embarrassing for everybody. Like,
I'm wondering if she squeezed his little bladder, or if he just peed his pants out of fear because he got force stopped.
Okay.
So it's one of those two. It's funny to think of her squeezing his little bladder, but who knows? But speaking of 11, dude, I love it when Mike looks back at her and she only has a little nosebleed, but she gives him a sly little smirk. Yeah. And then she has maybe one of the awesome nose wipe with attitude, attitude nose wipe. And then did you see how she does a little twirl, spin, walk away? Dude, she twirls and walks away. Did you see that?
She's a superhero.
Did you see the twirl?
I
mean, that was awesome. The only other good nose wipe is, the best nose wipe might be Sorcerer. What was it? Episode 4. Episode 4.
Yeah.
Season 5.
Yeah.
If you know it, you got to know it.
I think there's a good one in season 3, but
okay, well,
up
until now, this is the best nose wipe. This is the best nose wipe so far. She's got attitude with it. She does a pivot spin. Right then and there is when she almost won the MVP for me, just with the nose wipe pivot spin. Loved it.
Spin move.
Loved the spin move. Then we're back at the coroner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or the funeral home.
Funeral home. Because is it the coroner? Who is it? This guy's trying to sell Jonathan.
The funeral director.
Casket.
Yeah.
He's trying to sell the casket, which that's always a rough scene when they're trying to sell these caskets to these guys when you just lost somebody. Like, dude, come on, what a weird
do yourself a favor and get your caskets at Costco.
It's always weird when they're trying to. I don't know what your budget is. It's like, I'm not thinking about a budget right now. My brother just passed away, but whatever, dude. But then Nancy finds Jonathan at the coroner, which I thought was kind of funny because she's like, "Oh, hey, I found you here." Like, what a weird place to go find somebody.
Your mom said you'd be here, and it's like,
could you imagine?
You couldn't wait at my house.
Yeah. Hey, Joyce, where's Jonathan? And Joyce is just like, "Oh, he's at the coroner. You can go see him there if you want." Like, what a funny conversation that was.
Okay,
I'm on my way.
I have to show him a photo and ask him a question about it. This can't wait at all.
Yeah, it can't wait. I gotta go find him. With the caskets, amongst the caskets.
Yeah.
But she tells him how she went back to Steve's house, saw something in the woods. She wants to show him the picture that he took of Barb and how there's something on the side of the picture, but it's a little fuzzy. Can he fix it? But then he asks, "So what did the thing in the woods actually look like to you? What did it look like?" then they did that thing that they do in movies and shows where they finish each other's sentences, and she goes, "Like a man with no face." They both say it at the same time. So he's finally realizing, wait, maybe my mom is telling the truth. Holy crap.
Yeah. Confirms to him that my mom is not crazy after all.
And just a few minutes ago, I was yelling at her in the street being a jerk. Oh, holy crap. But the next scene is we're at the town bar, which is called the Hideaway.
This is my favorite scene of the episode.
Yeah?
Hopper is phenomenal.
Because you got Hopper questioning this David O'Bannon. He's the statey, and how he's using like that fake accent.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're talking back and forth, and Hopper's kind of being happy-go-lucky, but Hopper's like using the facade, which I would assume was probably a real story, maybe that he like had. Like it seems really specific. Like really specific.
How he talks about the spelling bee, how his daughter won the spelling bee, and she won. Do you remember the winning word?
Dude, I wrote it down. He goes,
"Go ahead."
Odontalgia,
which means
I have no idea.
Toothache.
Okay, you're right.
and then they both drink to Sarah, and then Hopper with his funny accent, "You famous or something?" But then he cuts the act pretty quick after that and starts questioning him about like, why were you at the quarry? Why did you find Will's body? What's going on? Who are you? What's going on here? And then the guy just finishes the scene with saying, "Thanks for ruining the game, dick." And the guy just leaves. He's getting questioned. He doesn't want these questions. He's out of there.
The guy goes, guy's like, "What's your problem?" He goes, "I don't have a problem. Just a concerned citizen." Like, oh, Hopper, yeah.
Yes. No, it's a good. I love I love his fake accent that he puts on for a few minutes, and then he ditches it pretty quick and just starts questioning, like, "What's going on? What are you doing?" Yeah. Pretty funny scene. But I also love how when the guy goes to leave, and then we get that jump cut to him getting punched right in the face,
getting a toothache, getting some odontalgia.
Oh, good call. He's just getting the crap beat out of him by Hopper, and then Hopper just wants some information, and then this O'Bannon guy is like, "They told me not to tell anybody about the body and not to get too close to the bodies," because I guess when he was at the quarry, he found the body. The lab people told him, "Don't let anyone get too close to it," obviously because it's a fake body. Sure. And then Hop is just like kind of just panicked and just trying to get something out of him. He's come on. "Who are you? Who do you work for? What is going on here?"
This reminded me of Austin Powers, where he's like, "Who does number 2 work for?"
Nice. Another Austin Powers call out. But then they're being watched because over Hop's shoulder, the guy looks and sees that there's a car there watching them, because the car like pulls away real quick. Hopper pulls his gun out at the car in the daylight, which I thought was kind of funny.
In this scene, so Hopper is a small town cop. He was a big town cop. Now he's a small town cop, and this may kind of retroactively help the military disappearance in season 5 after everything kind of wraps up. Hopper is a small town cop actively assaulting and beating the crap out of a state trooper with the state government department surveilling everything they're doing, and nothing happens to him at all.
Hop is clearly Hop is all in.
Yeah, he is
all in quickly. He is good. Yeah, he has gone rogue, and he's like, "I don't care." In the back of my mind I'm just thinking he's thinking about his daughter Sarah and how he wasn't able to save her. But if there's any shred of truth to this body not being real, and Will is still out there, he wants to hold on to that.
Exactly.
And the scene ends with O'Bannon running off and just looking at Hopper's face, just going, "What the heck is going on here?"
I'm sure also he's like, "What did I just do?"
That too.
What am I getting myself into?
It's okay. He's all in. Specifically at the end of this episode.
Yes.
We're back at the Byers. Joyce is in her house. She's turning on the Clash once again, blaring that thing and just egging on the Demogorgon, just going, "Come on, bring it. Let's go. I'm right here."
It reminds me of I Know You Did Last Summer, where Jennifer Love Hewitt's in the street going, "What do you waiting for? What are you
I don't
waiting
remember
for?
that.
Oh,
Man. And then we're back at the school radio room. 11 is going to try to use the staticky radio. What was it called? The Heath kit to try to contact Will. But right when the radio starts being all staticky, we get another flashback, where 11 flashback, where we're in the lab. Brenner and 11 are in a room. She's got the little headpiece on, and he wants her to try to eavesdrop on a person. He's got a little picture on a desk, and he goes, "Come on, you need to find them and tell me what you hear, what they're saying." Yeah. And I think this is kind of like how she's going to use the in between, which I don't think we've actually physically seen in between yet. But this is them trying to start explaining to us what it is and what she's doing, because
I think the only time we've seen it, have we seen the water tank Demogorgon scene where she touches it yet? No,
not yet.
Okay.
No, but this is just how she can tap in, and like we get a little scene of like she can see the guy, she sees the picture of the guy, and then we see her like ghostly walking down a hallway, and she can see the guy, and he's saying some weird words. But then when we go back to the lab room where Brenner and 11 physically are, we can hear him through like the PA system on the wall, and you can hear that guy. It's like she's tapped into him, and Brenner can hear him too coming through that PA system, and he's just saying some weird words. Just I didn't write them all down, but it reminded me of season 2 when 11's mom, what was it, Lily Ives? I think it's Ives.
Yeah.
Where 11's mom is like saying all those words like the rainbow. What are the other? She says a bunch of words.
It's
you know
like
what I'm talking about. Just a bunch of random words.
It's almost like a sleeper cell. Like wake up, Russian super soldier.
Yeah, when Russians are just like they just say random words, and maybe it's a code or something. But this is also, I thought it was kind of interesting how they try to frame all this, because this is kind of a longer scene going back and forth. But this is when I assume we jump back to present day, because we'll be cutting back and forth from the radio room to Joyce in her living room. Yeah. Because so then that's basically what's going to be happening for a little bit, is we're going to be cutting back and forth between, we're not in the flashback anymore. We're going from Joyce to radio room. So Mike says, she's doing it. And then the lights kind of go out, and then the light bulb ahead above all the kids breaks. And then that's when Dustin goes, holy crap. Like, he's like, what's going on? And then that's when you hear a bunch of banging and clanging on the radio, which is very scary. Yeah. Because it's banging and clanging in the radio room with the kids, which I thought was scary. But then you also hear the banging and clanging when you jump over to the Byers' house with Joyce. So you're like, this is a really cool editing way they did this to show us what's happening. Because you can hear it in the radio room, you can hear it at Joyce's. This is all happening in the Upside Down. But it's all making sense. I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't know if I'm making sense trying to bring it to life with words, but I'm trying here. But Joyce hears the banging and clanging, and she turns the music off. But then she hears Will on the other side of the wall, and then the kids hear Will on the radio. Yeah. So then Joyce runs outside to see if he's on the other side of the wall, which would be outside, but nothing's there, of course, because we know he's in the Upside Down. And then Joyce runs back inside and starts tearing the wallpaper off the wall to be like, Will, where are you? And she actually sees Will through the wall.
Yeah, what is this?
Can you describe what that like transparent pinkish?
It's like the only thing it looks like is it's almost like
a hive.
It's kind of like it's like a
honeysuckle almost.
Yeah, it's like a beehive. It's kind of like a gelatin looking material. It's weird. We never see this again in any of the seasons. It's weird. Like people go through the gates and everything. So, maybe this is like the remnants of a gate on Will's side that's kind of closed up and he can't get through it. Maybe.
Yeah, I also do feel like if she had picked up the axe that she has in the room and smashed that open, that he could have crawled through. Like,
Maybe.
I think
Yeah,
she just missed her chance of saving him. Where if she just smashed that open, I think he could have crawled back in.
maybe.
But Will's on the other side going, he can hear it. He's like, it's coming. But then before she tells him to run and hide, he tells her that what it feels like to be in there. He goes, it's like home, but dark and cold and empty. It's a good, it's a good quote from Will. But he has to he has to run and hide because the Demogorgon's coming, and that's when the wall kind of slowly closes back up. And then back at the radio room, the radio sparks and catches fire. And I liked how Dustin was super quick to put the fire out with the fire hydrant. So good job, Dustin. And then the fire alarm turns on. We go back to Joyce, who starts to bash a hole in her wall. And then we go back to the radio room where 11 is like super tired and weak. She's got like the veins on her face again.
Yeah.
The boys are going to help her out. And then we go to Joyce, who finishes smacking a hole in her wall, which just ends up being just a hole to the outside. She's not in the upside down. She just smacked a hole into her house. And then the scene ends with 11. The boys had thrown her on some weird wheelie cart and wheeled her out of the school. But I was just a crazy scene, crazy edited scene, but it's a good one.
Yeah, it's chaotic. It sets the tone.
Chaos,
it's like, yeah. It's a fun, but also again, it's like you're diverging down two paths that are going to lead to the same result. Like the boys and 11 are trying to find Will, and they're going to do it in their own way. And really, Joyce is just like, I'm going to sit in my house and just wait till he shows up because he's bound to show up at some point. But
what's crazy is
as we
Joyce.
see,
Joyce wants someone to believe her, and little does she know there's these little kids that literally listen to everything she just went through. And they would believe her if she was thinking, oh, I could talk to these little kids. But that wouldn't make sense.
They can't hear Joyce, right?
No, they could hear Joyce. I think they could.
Okay, you're right. Okay.
I think they did. But maybe they didn't know it was her.
Like,
I don't know.
they know.
But just, it's a cool scene, the way they put it all together, where there's all these people that are starting to know what's going on. Like you said, everyone knows what's going on, but they're not communicating.
Fuck,
but then
it's not hard.
Yeah. But then we cut back to the red picture room, I like to call it, the development room, where Jonathan and Nancy are there. They're developing that picture that Nancy wants to see. But kind of a quick scene where they're just chatting about how, specifically Jonathan, how he likes to take pictures of people and he doesn't like to talk to them, which I thought was just kind of a little random scene, but it just, I don't know, it explains why he was taking pictures, maybe trying to explain away flashing all those pictures in episode 2. I don't know. But then he gets the picture developed and they zoom in on the Demogorgon. And then I think Jonathan says, my mom's not crazy.
Yeah.
And then I think Nancy says, well, if Will's alive, maybe Barb is too. So she's trying to hold on. She's trying to hold on to that, but obviously we know she's not. We go back to the coroner.
Yeah.
Where Hop pulls up and he does this thing where he's gonna grab his hat. Well, remember when he grabs his hat, but he puts it back down and he goes inside and he goes, oh, hey, I forgot my hat. I need to go look for my hat. And so he goes up to there's a guard guarding the room where Will's body is, which also I just thought of this just now. Wouldn't that be kind of weird if a guard was guarding the coroner? Why is there a guard?
Yes.
I just thought of that. That's also something to think of. Like, why would you be guarding this room? And then that's when Hop walks up to him and goes, oh, hey, O'Bannon needs you. And the guy's like, I don't know who that is. I don't work for O'Bannon. And then that's when Hop makes a really funny, scrunchy face. He smacks his lips and goes, okay. And just gives him the old 1-2. Yeah. And that dude, he goes,
did I say O'Bannon? The guy goes like, what? He's like, oh, bam.
His face is so funny. He gets it all scrunchy. And then he goes,
it reminds me of Tim Robinson where he's like,
And then boom, boom, the guy's out. Yeah. Hop's great. And then so Hop goes into the room. He pulls out Will's body from the little slidey door thing. he looks at it for a second, but then he turns away to just be like, am I doing this right now?
Yeah. Am I going too far?
I guess I'm going to do this. He goes back over the body. He touches it, the chest, and did you see how he kind of like looked at it like that doesn't feel normal?
Right.
Did you notice that? He's like, ooh, that feels weird. That feels weird. And then he grabs his knife out. He hesitates one more time. He's like, am I really going to do this? Because you got to think, if he does this, if he's wrong, that is not good. It's not going to be good for him in his career.
He'll probably be accused of killing Will at this point.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe. But he cuts into it, and did you notice how it sounded like rubber when he was cutting into it? So away, I was like, okay, that's not normal skin. And then we find out it's stuffed with fluff.
He's a freaking Build-A-Bear.
It is a Build-A-Bear. It's stuffed with fluff, and I mean, and then to me, my mind just goes, who is capable of producing a body like this? A stuffed body that looks so convincing.
Yeah.
And then I think the last scene is we're at the Byers, where there's a car pulling up at the Byers.
We now have Hopper confirming there's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
We have Joyce and Jonathan and Nancy now have the conspiracy of the Demogorgon confirmed to them that something else supernatural is happening. And you have the kids. So again, everyone that is our main crop of characters knows what is happening now to some degree.
Everybody's figuring it out, but on their own, which is kind of the thing that happens in every season.
Yeah.
But I love that part where everyone's doing their own thing.
Come together.
But little does everyone know everything that they are doing is going to benefit everyone else at the end. I love it.
Right.
It's so fun, and on this like smaller kid level, because kids are involved, and I don't know. I love the way they put it all together. But the last scene is we're at the Byers' house, and there's a car pulling up where you see the lights first, and I thought it was Hopper driving over to tell Joyce, you're right, but no. Who gets out of the car? It's Lonnie. I hate Lonnie.
Your man.
Gross. But he walks up, he sees the hole in the wall. He goes, what the heck's happening here? And she comes over and hugs him. And I'm like, oh, don't hug him. But I was also thinking like, well, she is very desperate for someone to believe her because she doesn't know what Hopper is doing. She doesn't know what the kids are doing.
Right.
Jonathan's not believing her. So she's just desperate for someone to lean on. And when she sees Lonnie, she's like, well, I know who you are. Maybe you'll believe me about our son. But little does she know that's not going to happen. Oh, sorry. The last scene, I forgot. We're back over at Mirkwood. We got a little Mirkwood scene. It's the street along Mirkwood where the lab intersects with Mirkwood Street, and Hopper gets out of his car by a gate that goes to the lab, and he's got some cutters, and he does one little clip, and then it ends. Episode ends. So Hopper's breaking into the lab, and we're done with this one.
It's a good one. It makes you want to go on to the next. This tight kind of mystery they're building. It's just like, whoo, like this is one of the episodes. While I think the last couple are good, the first one being amazing, this to me is where things really pick up again. Yeah. And it's like, okay, like we're kind of getting towards the end game of the season. You're at the halfway point, and now it's time for things to ramp up, and we can build towards what will be an amazing finale of season 1.
That's a good point, because I was looking up, because I was curious about the episode ratings, actually, because I'm like, I thought episode 3, the previous one, Holly Jolly, was really good, but I actually thought this one was just a tad better. And if you look up the ratings on IMDb, I think is a pretty good source for ratings. Episode 3 got an 8.8, but this one got an 8.9. So this one actually does have the slightly better rating, which I think this might be our best episode so far.
Besides the opening?
Besides the first one?
Yeah, or even higher than that.
I think it's higher than that one. I mean,
okay.
If you look at IMDb, the first episode got an 8.6.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I don't know if you've looked at IMDb. I think it's pretty interesting because this season has 2 episodes that are above 9.0. It's hard to get 9s on IMDb.
Yeah.
But this season does have 2 9s, which are the final 2 episodes.
Wow.
And then the next closest is this one.
Hmm.
So just something to ponder. Also, no season has gotten more than 3 9s within the season.
And this is the one that did it.
This one only has 2. It
Well,
does not have 3.
two, like close to it. Yeah.
This would actually be another good episode podcast just to talk about the ratings, because there's two seasons did get 3 9s, and I don't know if you can guess which 2 seasons got 3 9s. Because I've already told you it wasn't this one. Yeah.
Probably season 4.
Yes. That's
And I would
easy
assume
one.
season 3.
Season 3 has the least amount of 9s. Season 3 has 1 9.
Get out of here.
Season 2 has also 3 9s. So that would be a good fun podcast to do, because season 2 is sneakily the best season of the series.
That's absurd, because that's wrong.
It's a sneaky season where I don't know, and I think it's because of episode 7 where it doesn't meet the mark in your mind. But if you subtract episode 7 from season 2, I don't know, season 2 really is up there.
It's because you get Dustin and Steve and their camaraderie, and it really helps the show and grows the show.
Yeah.
And you have the mind flayer, and you do get some expansion on. I think Darts in season 2. Like, you do get some expansion on things and everything. But this episode was
it's
really
something to ponder. It might be a fun conversation to have down the line. But my point was, this episode was a very good episode.
Yes,
which I did not remember episode 4 being this good, but it was. But it was also a very serious episode. We're still building. We're not like solving. We're kind of we're piecing things together still. We're not quite solving yet.
Yeah.
But let's finish up with our post game, which we like to hand out an MVP. Do you have an MVP for any characters?
I really want to say Joyce, but I think as we talk through it, I just really love what Hopper did. Like, the investigative stuff. He's involved in more of the action. He's punching state troopers in the face. Odontologia. He's doing a lot of the action heavy lifting of the episode. And I think, Hopper in season 1, I think through 4 episodes, and I'm sure towards the end as we progress, he may be the MVP of the entire season, in my opinion. But this episode, I think, is his.
Ooh.
And Joyce's, but I'll give it to Hopper for the sake of him just kind of Joyce kind of gets sidelined a little bit in the later part of the episode, which is fine. It works out. And so I'll give it to Hopper.
Nice. I'm glad you gave it to Hopper. That way it leaves room for me to give it to Joyce.
There you go.
I almost wanted to give it to 11 just for the pivot spin.
Right.
But
right.
11 is just a good source for smaller things, but specifically in this episode. I almost wanted to give it to Mike, because Mike is leading the way with the kids a lot. He's definitely the leader of the group, of the kid group in this episode. But I think Joyce is still holding her own. I don't think I've actually gotten to give it to Joyce yet, so this is my chance to give it to Joyce, where her scene on the street yelling it back at Jonathan, holding her own. The opening scene of her running to get the axe and just sitting there like, let's go. When she also turns, that other scene where she turns up the music really loud and goes, come on, bring it. So it's Joyce.
Heck yeah.
She takes it. We try to give out our favorite quote of the episode, although it's interesting because I thought there were more quotes in every episode that would stand out more, because there are a lot of good quotes in this series. But it does seem
there's
like
some good
the last
ones in the episode.
Yeah, there's definitely good ones, but I thought they would be more like stand out-ish. But
I mean,
the last couple episodes, not as many that are like in your face, but still good ones, obviously.
Yeah, I think, Joyce saying you're talking about grief. This isn't grief from the opening, I think is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've said odontologia more times today than I have in my entire life. And I think even Jonathan and Hopper, the exchange of, my mom, she's tough, and Hopper going, yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
those are a couple just kind of small good ones. And even Mike, being like, screw his funeral. Like,
Yeah.
there are some good ones in here that I don't think are as popular, but I think are like, when you hear them, you go, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite, or do we just want to point out all those?
By far, it is Odontologia.
The Odontologia, perfect.
Yes.
I love that one. And I'm gonna go with the Mike one, the screw his funeral, because why would you ever have a way to use that phrase, screw his funeral?
Not very common.
That's not a common phrase, but it works here.
Yeah.
The last part before we wrap up is I like us to try to find a specific scene that defines this episode. So I always use the Dear Billy episode of Max floating as like defines that episode, or the one where Eddie is playing his guitar on top of the roof. Yep. Those are like, that happens in this episode. So like for this episode, how do we say this happens in this episode? This is the episode where blank happens.
Oh, I think it's pretty obvious. It's Hopper cutting open the body.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was fully obvious, but I think I was leaning towards that one too. The other one was like
probably Troy peeing his pants.
Yeah, I was thinking either Troy peeing his pants or Will like talking to Joyce through the wall. But I think you're right though, that him cutting into what we thought was a corpse. Yeah. So I think that's a good choice. Hopper cutting into the body, and it's called the episode is called The Body. So I
was gonna say it's pretty fitting for the known part of the episode to be him cutting open the body of the dead child that actually isn't dead at all.
Yeah. Well, we did another one, Sterling. Let's actually finish before the 90-minute mark. Look at us go.
Wow, look at us. We're dwindling down as every episode goes by.
Nice. Please do us the honors. You're better than me at this.
So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop your thoughts on Stranger Things Season 1, Chapter 4, The Body, down below. And if you could, give us a 5-star audio podcast review. We are 4 episodes in. We have 4 more to go through Stranger Things, what we have learned to be called number 1. Then we have 4 more seasons after that to go. So we will continue here on Just a Piece of Stranger Things. Chris, thank you so much. To the listeners and watchers out there, thank you so much. And we did another one, Chris. Thank you so much, man.
We did a thing. Thank you, Sterling, and thank you, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.